on the side of just like, okay, let's talk about embedded finance, I guess.
Let's do it.
Because you have then seen a ton, right? Being on the back end there and just being so deep into it. I mean, what is, I guess, the biggest almost evolution from you entering, at Plaid and now being at Unit, going through a global pandemic? It might as well be a decade of change.
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes. It's a great question. I think it started out like everyone should be a bank, right? And like starting a neobank was like sexy. It was like fun. Yes. And it was like, if you want to be a founder, like you and me, let's go. Let's build a neobank. Let's do it.
Everyone's a bank.
Everyone's a bank. And the part of it is like, we are here to make it easy, right? Like you will link your old bank account with Plaid to move the funds from Chase, Wells, Citi into insert name of neobank here. And Unit is going to be the infrastructure that said neobank can build upon. So like, I've always worked at companies that do help genuinely when they say like democratize financial services, like allow builders to build, which I love. However, I think that narrative has shifted from should it just be like fintech for fintech to how can we help these vertical SaaS companies, these large existing ecosystems across like a myriad of random use cases, trucking, legal case management software, restaurants who still deal with a ton of cash. I'm working with a bunch of ag tech companies right now. The farmers and their crops and like how all the payments are made, super check heavy, super cash heavy. Like there's a lot of opportunity that I almost feel like being so deep in the fintech bubble, if you don't like pick your head up and like look around, you could kind of miss it.
Yeah.
So I think the trend has shifted from just focus on like fintechs for fintechs to how can we help these publicly traded companies learn about fintech. Like education is like half my day job, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
It's explaining like, did you even know this was possible? And they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, we can open an account, fund it, and like start transacting, like within weeks and not actually have to become a bank. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why I like my job. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's even to the Apple, announcement with Goldman Sachs that happened. I mean, we're recording this the week it happened, and I mean, I found it funny that some people were like, Apple's becoming a bank, like some of the like online influencers, and I was like, no, they're not. Like Goldman Sachs is a bank. Yeah. Apple is still the tech company that it is, but that was the point. The point was that Apple was able to provide these banking services and not have to actually become a bank. They get to use Goldman Sachs, and so in a sense, it's like and that kind of goes back to the core of what makes fintech and embedded finance so exciting, and what makes someone like you who's so passionate about it be like, yeah, because is it fun to make fintech better or make finance better? Of course, like yeah, but how cool is it to get to go to other spaces, adjacencies, to go to other industries and say, to healthcare and say, hey, we can make solutions to make this this other traditional system better and work better for everyone, because finance touches everyone and touches every industry. It's so cool. Like I tend to the vastness of our capabilities of how we can change the world with financial technology is like scary because it seems overwhelming, but is exciting at the same time, right? Like that's the challenge and that's the whole point. I mean, how cool is it to be able to, do you have more fun talking to companies that aren't in the finance space?
I feel like right now
on a kind level.
We're on a very kind level. I mean, I also think that's probably like I'm 5 years in. So
yeah.
I feel like, and I also started with more SMB like startups, two guys in a garage trying to build the next fintech. Working with them, helping them launch. Now I've moved up.
Different.
It's different. Yeah. I moved up to enterprise, and it's been cool to be like, okay, you're a restaurant point of sale solution and you want to bank these restaurants and give them yield instead of having them earn 0.05% at Chase. Like that's awesome. And my first job in high school was I was a hostess. So like that hits home for me, right? I'm like, exactly. I get that. That's tangible. And then there's other situations where I'm like completely naive to the challenges for farmers. And I'm learning about whole new industries and how like we can help. And I find myself like jumping up and down with excitement on the call, like, oh my God, wait, we have the perfect thing for you. Like this is going to make that whole flow of funds that you described, which is horribly inefficient and fraught like with risk and challenges in terms of actually keeping track and reconciling. I mean, reconciliation is we could have a whole nother podcast on that. But like we are really here, like Unit was built to solve these problems, make this better. And it's cool because in a given day, I can speak to 5 completely different use cases that can all leverage BaaS to like solve all the challenges that they're facing. So it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know.